Hey, it's time for Radio with Ben. Hello, and welcome to another radio show with Ben. Now, today, I'm going to get straight into the topic. Okay, first of all, let me say, before I get into the topic, first of all, I told you on my last radio show, if you've seen it, to comment and tell me what you thought of my last one. But I looked at my comments, and for some reason, my YouTube channel won't let me read them. So I'm sorry about that. So I can't let you send any comments in at the moment until I sort that out. But you can subscribe and you can put a thumbs up, because that works. So, yeah. Okay, let's get into the topic for today. And the topic for today is bullying and disabilities. Now, I speak from experience, because I have, it's hard for me to talk about it really, because I have mild cerebral palsy. Now, if people who out there who don't know what cerebral palsy is, it's a disability that affects the muscles it can either affect the muscles in your leg or your arm, or both legs, or stuff like that, or sometimes both legs and both arms. I think that is it. I think you can be affected like that anyway, like both legs and both arms, but it basically affects the muscles and makes them unable to work like a normal muscle. Now, I speak from experience because, okay, before I go into all that, I want to tell you my story, because in order to understand, you'll need to know the story behind me. Okay, number one, I wasn't born with cerebral palsy. I was very, if I stammer in my voice and be like talking like I am, is generally because it really is hard for me to talk about it. So bear with me. Okay, so I wasn't born with cerebral palsy. I caught it. It was a virus in the hospital, and I was just unlucky. I was unlucky to have caught it. So, but I don't know any different, because I was a baby at that time. So, yeah. So I don't know any different. But to be honest, I'd rather not know any different than to have no disability and then get it, because that is the worst. That would be the worst scenario for me, really. Now, when I talk about me and talk about my story, it's not because I'll feel sorry for me. It's because I want you out there to understand how it affects people and how it works, and telling my story is just a way of you guys understanding it. So if I'm coming across like, oh, feel sorry for me, that is not my intention. Okay, carrying on. So moving forward to when I went to school, primary school wasn't that bad. I mean, I made loads of friends and no one really cared that I was different. So primary school was okay. But moving on to secondary is a whole different one. Because secondary can be more cruel and there can be more cruel people out there. So that is different. So I was bullied, and I was bullied for my walking because I have a slight limp. I was bullied for my hand because my hand is stiff and doesn't work quite right. I've had an operation on my hand to straighten it. What the operation is, now I was unconscious for half of it, so I don't know basically what happened. But the doctor filled me in on what it goes on. So basically, what happens is my particular operation. My fingers were all bent, so they didn't open properly, and I couldn't straighten my hand. And I couldn't use it very well. So what they do is the muscle that goes down your hand and is just below your hand, goes into your wrist, is called, okay, I want to get this right. The scientific doctory name for it is called the flexocarpionaris. Now, that is quite a hard name to remember, but I did it. Oh my gosh, I did it. Anyway, moving on. So, it's called the flexocarpionaris. So, what that muscle is, it controls the muscle of the wrist and also the movement of the hand. And now I'm not a doctor, so I might be getting this muscle bit wrong. So sorry if I have, but I think that's right. So anyway, that's what happened. It made me lose the use of my hand and made it not be able to work properly. So yeah. And also my leg. So anyway, I got bullied for that and my slight limp. And there are some cruel people out there. But anyone who's listening to this who has a slight disability or feels like that nothing's going right for them, trust me, I know how you feel. I've been through all this. I went into this is really hard for me to say. I went into really quite a dark place when I at the point when I was being bullied, and it was very hard for me. But with a bit of help, I got over it. But when I think back, yeah, I understand, guys. It's the type of thing that stays with you and almost scars you for life, but you can get over it. I mean, not completely, because you'll never forget that you have been bullied. It's one of those things that sticks with you, but it gets easier. Okay, so don't give up and don't worry, because there are people out there who will bully you, but there are people out there who will help you. And most of the time, people who bully you have worse off problems or a worse home life than you. I know that doesn't make sense, but it's true. And you can find friends that you depend on and talk to them about it. And just find people who understand you and who are your friends and know that you can get over it. But anyway, disabilities are a hard thing to get past, but you can get over it, I promise. Now, on a cheerier note, I'm going to carry on with the subject afterwards, but on a cheerier note, I'm going to put a story in. So, I'm going to put in the alien invasion. When I say cheerier note, it is an invasion story, so by aliens. So, yeah. But it's got a bit of comedy in it anyway. So hopefully this will cheer you up. But I'm going to come back and carry on with the subject. Okay, here it is. Without further ado, here is the alien invasion.
Death to all humans. It's time to take our revenge. I shall rain my evil upon them with the force of 1,000 suns. It's time to invade.
Meanwhile, back on Earth.
Right, troops, we need to prepare for the worst. There are many wars upon us, but generals and armies from other countries have got them completely under control. Perhaps the most serious of them all is the one above us.
Excuse me, what do you mean, sir?
Come here, Lieutenant.
The lieutenant comes forward, and the general whispers in his ear.
The aliens.
What, sir? What do you mean by aliens?
You laugh now, but don't blame me when they come down in their spaceships and kill you all.
The lieutenant turns to the officer next to him.
Do you think the general has gone crazy?
Let me think about this for a bit. Yes.
The nerve of my troops. I give them everything, and all they do is mock me.
Weapons primed and ready to go.
The aliens land on Earth at warp speed next to the army base.
Come in.
Were you serious about the aliens, sir?
Of course I was. How dare you question my authority? You're fired. I don't want to hear it. Get out.
The soldier leaves, but then comes back in again.
I thought I told you to get out.
The soldier walks up to the general menacingly and says in a menacing way, "I'm not one of your soldiers." He then pulls off his face to reveal his true form. An alien! He attacks the general whilst the general yells, "No!" The general tries to knock him out, but he is shoved into a cupboard and locked in. The alien assumes the general's identity by transforming into a copy of the general. He then proceeds to the intercom.
All troops to the meeting room. Repeat, all troops to the meeting room.
Later, in the meeting room, the fake general told his troops,
I was just kidding about the whole alien thing. Cake is on me, as we have a birthday in the house. Mine!
Everyone cheers and the fake general walks off.
Now the fools will never know what's coming for them.
I did it to you again, didn't I? I said I was going to play the whole thing, but I didn't. What am I like, eh? I don't know. If you want to hear the whole thing, the whole alien invasion, there is a video on my YouTube channel called The Alien Invasion Story, and you will hear the whole story. So, maybe next time I'll put the whole story in this radio show, but I don't know. Anyway, so we were talking about disabilities, and I was telling you my story. So that's sort of all the story I can sort of give you at the moment. I mean, my story anyway. The next thing I want to talk about is autism. Now, autism is completely different different to cerebral palsy. Autism is something that affects the brain. I had someone, I've encountered a lot of autism kids, autism people. Now, autism people they can be very, very clever, but they have slight social disadvantages, so they'll find it hard to speak to people, interact with people, and I know even people without disabilities find it sometimes hard to talk to people just from shyness, but autism takes it to a whole nother level. There's a particular autism that I've encountered that affects the brain in a way that makes the person younger in their head than their physical body actually is. So, say if someone was physically 21, their mind would be younger, so they'd still be into like kids programs, that type of thing. And sometimes you can be unlucky enough to get autism and cerebral palsy. Now that's a sad thing when you have two disabilities. It just I have a lot of sympathy for kids who go through so much, and I know I could be a lot worse off. I could be a lot worse off. So I always sometimes everybody has those down days, and I have those down days, but I always try to take those days in a way there's always someone worse off, and so should you. You should say to yourself, there's always someone worse off. Oh, by the way, I don't know if you can hear it, but if you can hear a noise in my background, that is my cat. I don't know. Or if you can hear some background noise, then that is probably someone else's TV. But I hope you can't hear it. But now I've just pointed it out, you'll be listening for it, won't you? Anyway, back to the topic. I don't know much about autism, but I've helped a lot with autism. I've encountered a few people who have autism. Now, that is pretty much all I know about autism, but I think that autism, people who have autism are very clever because they can do something that most people can't. Like, there was this autism person I saw on TV that had disadvantages in the brain but could play Beethoven on the piano really, really well without even learning it. Just like had it in there. That's amazing. I think that's amazing. Or can play piano without even looking at the piano, blindfolded. That their brains are just wired differently. And what I'm trying to say is sometimes that can be advantage because they are cleverer than us. I'm not saying that having autism is a good thing. That is in no way what I'm saying at all. But sometimes they can be better than us. Disadvantages to them might be unbelievable to us because they can do things that normal brains can't. Or sometimes they can be great at maths. Just their brains are wired differently. Now, I admire a lot of people. I admire people who are worse off than me, and I admire people who struggle worse off than me, and I always like to try and give back, whether it's me writing stories to give people hope or me volunteering somewhere. And that's what you should do as well. You should give back. If you have sympathy for this radio show, you should go out and give back to someone who is unable to give their gifts to the world because they have been born with disadvantages. And the reason I'm not using the word disability is because people who have them don't want to be reminded that they have them. So that's why I use the word disadvantage. And say if you saw a person in the street who had a disability, what would you do? Would you go up to them and say, hi? Would you have a normal conversation with them if that you got into a conversation with them? Or would you go, hello, how are you? Hello. Ah, isn't she cute? What would you do? Now, again, say if you're in a wheelchair, they don't like you walking up to them and, I don't know, patting them on the head like a dog. Because sometimes people do that. That is just wrong. You wouldn't talk to them. It's not right to just talk to them like they're different, because they are not. They were just born with a disadvantage in their life, an unfortunate event in their life. They're just the same people. They're just the same as us, looking a little bit different or acting a little bit different. So that's the main message. I know this radio show's gone on longer than the last one, but that is a message I really wanted to get across because it is something very close to me, as you know from me telling my story. Anyway, we've come to the end of the show. Thank you for sticking with me if you have stuck with the video, and thank you for sticking with the channel. If you have subscribe if you haven't, please, and thumbs up this video. And yeah, okay, I'll see you soon, folks. Bye. Hey guys, quick thing before I go, don't forget to check out the Alien Invasion story, the full version. It's on the YouTube channel. It's called The Alien Invasion Story. Okay, well, see you soon. Bye.